Hello everyone, here is Coach Victor, or Den in Hearthstone. Um, I wanted to do today a live commentary of a video. This is the last game of an heroic Tavern Brawl run, where I was at 11 and 2, so it's the big final. I'm gonna talk over the video because I recorded it in French in the first place, but since there was no video of gameplay on the website for myself, I decided I could make a little one so we get to know each other, and at the same time, I could help you get better at the game with a gameplay video. Okay, so here we're going to start, and we're in a Warlock mirror. So in this run, I already faced a Zoo and 0 Reno locks. So I decided to keep the Hellfire just in case, because Tavern Brawl was really about the Pirate Warrior, and a lot of people were playing Zoo to counter it, because Zoo is actually a fairly good matchup to Pirate Warrior. So here I end up with a very anti-aggro hand, which is super good if it's Zoo, but super bad if it's Reno Lock. Okay, so tap turn 2 probably means it's Reno Lock since he didn't do anything on turn 1, and tap turn 2. So here I'm forced to tap very aggressively for the sole reason that my hand is super anti-aggro, and I'm obviously playing in a control matchup. So here I have like 100% confirmation it is Reno Lock, and I actually end up drawing my Twilight Drake, which is a very good play for turn 4. So I just make my turn 3 as easy as possible. It is tap, and I just play a 1-drop so I don't overdraw next turn because I was at 10 cards. Okay, so my opponent plays the Mountain Giant, which forces me to change my play. I cannot play Drake on it because it's very easy for him to remove it. So I'm just looking at ways to remove it. Here I can go Power Overwhelming on my 2/2 and then Shadow Bolt it, or I can just Black Crystal Potion it. The Black Crystal feels good because it's 4 mana for a giant that costed 4 mana, so it's very efficient, 1 card for a card. But I lose mana, so for the rest of the game, I'm gonna play a little bit behind with 1 less mana than my opponent. Here I still have my turn 4 plays from last time, which is the Drake. Or I can again decide to try and find a way to remove it. So I decide to go for the Drake. Mine is a little bit bigger than his. I have 1 more health. But here, 9 health or 10 health is just gonna ask for single target removal, and we're just gonna see if he has it. I was also a little bit afraid of Tarzan, which is why I didn't remove the Drake on turn 5. I had to develop my own board, otherwise I couldn't have killed East Tarzan on turn 6 if he decided to go with it. Okay, so here he has a pretty bad play in development, but the corruption is gonna force my Drake to be super useful this turn, otherwise I'm just gonna lose it for nothing. And here I have a lot of plays, so I'm just gonna pause for 1 second. I could have gone for board clear, which is I put my Drake into his and then I Hellfire, or I could go for the Shamble play where I copy and try to take advantage of this big body Drake that he told me he couldn't remove since he corrupted it and he was on 6 mana. So he told me he didn't have Black Crystal Potion and he told me he doesn't have Siphon Saw. So I think I decided to make a Drake as big as possible to just play around the fact that maybe he doesn't have anything. And I'm just gonna make 8/14 and pray it sticks and it doesn't top deck a huge removal. So he doesn't, but he has what is one of the best turn 7s in the whole game, Brad Kazakis. So here, Brand Kazakis means that he probably is going to find a removal, he's going to find a way to transform it as a sheep, he's going to have a good damage burst that he can put into it. Like, he's going to get a lot of options, and I'm going to have to play around potions for the rest of the game. So here I decide to Hellfire, Mortal Coiled Bran, so I clear his board. And now is the part where it gets interesting. I have 8/11, which is super good, but since I want to play around the potion that transforms into 1/1 sheep, I'm just gonna coin a 2/3 and try to delay his potion and give him 50% on the sheep effect. So now he has to have perfect potion, which kills my 2-3 and then has the sheep effect. He has that, so I am very, very sad, because that was the perfect potion to enter my board. But he spent 5 mana out of the 8 he had, so his development is not going to be that good, and I have either Mountain Giant or Emperor Taurus to follow that. So here I decided to go for Tap Giant. I could have gone for Emperor Taurus, but my hand didn't have much to discard, and going for Tap Giant this turn allows me to go for Tap Taurus next turn, which means I can line up my threats and keep drawing for more cards and have juice through the whole game. So here I put my threat down and it's turn 9, which is super important because it means he probably took the 5 mana potion to answer my threat before, but the second potion had to be a 10 mana potion because he wants some value out of it at some point. Okay, so here he's just gonna float the board, try to answer my giant in 2 turns probably. And now is the time where I can do a lot of things. I can tap Sarsen like it was the plan. I can Argus. I can Dark Peddler. I can like choose to go for very weenie minions, or I can choose to go for Torsen. And I decide to clear his board and heal my giant. Like keep making the situation as awkward as possible for him, with 2 minions on the board, and keep playing around the fact that he told me he didn't have a removal. And now he's just gonna play second Kazakus potion, because obviously his hand is not that good, and he wants to fight the board. So here, the 10 armor are totally irrelevant for me, since I don't play combo, I want to win through board, but the 3 minions on his board can be a pain. So here I just decide to make a super aggressive play, because it just told me I do not have answers for this giant. So I removed 2 out of the 3 creatures he dropped. I dropped Taurus, so I have an 8-6 and a 5-5 that both require removal. So here I know he doesn't have any Kazakus potions. So I'm gonna see how he removes that, and he finds a super good way that kind of punishes me for putting the giant's face. And then he plays the rat that makes Bran fall. And this is where the game can go very, very fast. Here, if imagine if the refreshment vendor was Kazakus, the game would have gone in my favor like hugely, because I would have 10 mana to play and Kazakus was only 4, so I didn't have even the Bran combo. So here I could have gone Kazakus into Dark Peddler into Orgus, something like some crazy thing like that, even Rat if I wanted to bait something from him. So when you rat, like that's something my opponent did. He rat at the end of the turn, and even he drew after the rat. When you rat in this situation, okay, you saw the giant, okay, you saw Tarzan, okay, so stuff like that. But you gotta be aware, like, if a super valuable minion falls down, like Bran, what else could have fell down? Like, imagine I play Ragnaros. Ragnaros falls on the board. Imagine some weird version of Renologue that doesn't play Jaraxxus but plays Alexstrasza instead, and Alexstrasza falls on the board. You have to anticipate the rat, and maybe here it was even better to play the rat before the Demon Wrath, because that way your rat was going to be a 2-4, but maybe you kill for free the minion that falls down or something like that. So when playing cards like that, that have effect that can immediately impact the state of the game, you have to be super careful and think before, what if something really bad falls on the board? Like, what am I going to do? And of course, always tap first. Tapping at the end of the turn does nothing for this turn. It's like drawing a card for next turn. While if he tapped when he had 10 mana, the card would have been live with 8 resources available. So here I draw the vendor. I of course tap immediately to see if I can find the Kazakus. I don't. So I'm just going to take as much value as I can, which is Dark Peddler for the 2 1-drops. Here I'm just counting if I can get to 6 minions on board, and I realize I can't. So I'm going to take the Zelius for the small value, and then I'm going to try making my battle cries as much value as I can. So I get 2 4 6s, which is pretty good, but now I'm kind of afraid of the mind control tech if he plays it, because if it steals one of my two minions, it's bad. Okay, so here is another weird decision. I could have attacked and set it up to be dead to my 2-3 or 2-2, but Bran is the most valuable minion in my deck right now with Harrison gone, Giant gone. There's like Jaraxxus, Bran, Kazakus left. So I decide to not attack because if he has Twisting Nether, he changed absolutely zero to the situation. But if he has something like Shadow Flame, if he has something like Hellfire, he can kill my Bran easier, like easier way because he's gonna have 4 health instead of 6. So I decide to not move, and if he wants to kill my Bran, he has to invest it to it. Okay, so he taps first this time, which is very good. Like at this point in the game, I think I was just afraid of Twisting Nether because Demon Wrath was gone. You could have Shadow Flame, but the thing is like I used most of my threats, so I was really in a way where like I wanted to draw Kazakus and Jaraxxus. They were the only two cards in my deck that could win me the game at this point. And I just wanted to play around his Jaraxxus as fast as possible. So here he has to spend the Black Crystal on my Bran. This is good and bad. Usually when you see Black Crystal on Bran, you're like, okay, that's huge value and good. But in this situation, most of my minions that require Black Crystal are gone already, and Bran was a super important win condition. Okay, so I draw probably the biggest minion I have left in the deck. And here my play, like since I drew the Enforcer, I decided to go for the clear. And you see, I ask myself like, do I want to play the Rat before? But it's the same reasoning. I didn't do it because I was afraid of what could fall down. And since I blocked 7 mana for my zone, that means if something that has more than 3 health and that is super important to remove fell down, I could have let the Doomsayer do the job. Like, if I would play Rat and it was something super important, I would have just let Doomsayer go off. But the thing is, like, my board here was dominant. I had pressure, and since I drew Jaraxxus, I want to keep this taunt because playing Jaraxxus behind the taunt protects me from getting comboed like right away by my opponent if he plays the combo version with Leroy, Faceless, and Power Overwhelming. So this taunt was super important for me to keep on the board, and I decided to not risk it with the Rat. Okay, so he keeps tapping. He tells me he doesn't have much. He plays Reno. So here, Reno is a super good play for me. Because it's not that much value. He only gets 11. And most than anything, like I can trade it right away. I have Jaraxxus set up behind the taunt, so I cannot die this turn. And I have another taunt in my hand and 2 eels. And the rat, which is basically a taunt, but it's a special one, so we'll put him in another category. So here I have the perfect setup for my Jaraxxus. And as you can see, like, he's immediately removing the board. Hellfire was really good here, but it's not about removing the board as much as removing my taunt. Here he has the ooze, which kills my weapon. Apparently forgot to tap at the end of turn, that's what he was trying to tell me. And here, as you can see, I immediately drop another taunt. It's like, I still don't know if he plays combo or not. Like, I haven't seen clues he wasn't playing combo. So I just drop a taunt. I want to make sure I am not gonna die. And again, he goes Twisting Nether right away. So at this point, I don't know if he's defending or if he's just trying to make his combo be good. So I am just gonna heal to Fool and pray. Like at this point, I'm like, okay, I haven't seen Tarison, so his maximum damage is 12. So now I've seen Tarison. So now is the time where I am gonna have to be safe because he can deal 20 to me at any point. And I draw Kazakus. So here there are two possibilities. Either I went for the rat, and since he used Tarison, he told me I have at least one piece of the combo in my hand. Since he drew a lot, the game's pretty advanced, I can bet he has at least two. So I rat because if I make Leroy or Manipulator fall, I almost instantly win the game, because the main thing that punished me from going into Jiraxis mode, which was burst damage, is going to be out of the equation, and I'm going to force him into Jiraxising. The second play could have been I went for Kazakus and took a 5 mana potion to try and find the 7 armor, putting me at 22. That was a little bit riskier, especially because now there are people playing Soulfire and stuff like that, and I was just 2 points over. So here I decided to go with the Rat for simple reasons. Is I have Shadow Flame, so I can Shadow Flame 6/6 for a huge AoE effect if it's something I need to remove that falls. And here I make a Spellbreaker fall, which is not that good, but I don't really care because at least I have a 2/6 on the board, so he's not killing me. Like, when the Rat is down, I know he is not killing me. So here I of course take 10 armor, so that is gonna make me go to 25 health when I decide to play it. And it's gonna get me out of combo range. Also, I decided to use the Shadow Flame to clear the board because it allows me to be aggressive, and it's right into my mana curve to get my auto 6/6. And as you can see, I'm pretty enthusiastic because at this point I think I'm super good in the game. And my goal here was to be super aggressive because the potion that I got was summon an 8/8 and get 10 armor, but it costs 10, which means for one turn I'm not gonna hero power. Okay, I get 8/8, but I'm not gonna play anything else. So I want to be super aggressive, make he spend all his mana into defending. He doesn't develop any board, and I can go potion, get out of combo range, summon an 8/8, and then get the game out of reach for him with his primary win condition, which is combo, and I'm forcing him into finding another solution. So here he's starting him at 6/6. So this could mean two things. It could mean he doesn't have combo, so he's just playing for board and removing my 6/6, or he has combo, but he's too low on health and he has to remove the 6/6 so he stays alive. So here, since I don't know, I'm still on the maybe yes combo plan. So here I take the occasion to play my potion, I get a 25, and now the game is almost out of reach. Because I have everything I need. I have Twisting Nether in case I lose the board, I have super good hero power, and I have Soulfire for little burst damage. Reno is not that much important as Jiraxis because if I want to play around 20 damage, getting full to 15 is kind of irrelevant. And now it tells me I have combo. Like, he was playing combo, but I forced him into breaking it, which is actually super good for me. So he got the board back thanks to it, but he told me you're safe, you're not gonna take 20 damage anymore. So here I just make Twisting Nether play, which looks unvaluable. It's super unvaluable to Twisting Nether on 2/3 drops, but it does two things for me. First, it gives me back initiative with a 6/6 on the board with my hero power. Second, it forced my opponent to answer the 6/6 because last turn he had to break his combo and use Shadow Flame to clear my board. So now that I know he plays combo, that means in his hand there is a totally useless Leroy. That maybe he wants to keep Leroy in power whelming to kill me at 10. So what this Twisting Nether does is, okay, you have 5 cards left because he has 3 in his hand. As you can see, 3 are here, and he's saying I'm almost out of card, which means he has 2 in his deck. So he has 5 cards. Out of these 5 cards, there is a Leroy, a Power Overwhelming, and maybe a Soulfire or something like that. So out of these 5 cards, I know 2 are useless in a board control fight. So I'm just gonna make the fight all about board control and be like, hey, my cards are useful. I have removal, I have Reno, I have Doomsayer, I have Corruption, I have 3 removals, a minion, and a super good hero power. What do you have if we go to board control? So he has no choice, he has to go into Jiraxis mode. which is not bad at all because he got touched by Tarzan, so he can Jiraxis and Hero Power at the same time. So here he's kind of reversing the pressure, but I can still make a super good tempo play with Siphon. I am super happy because the last card of my deck was Ooze, and it answers situation perfectly. Here is the exact same thing as last turn. I Siphon a 6/6 just to make my board solid, just to make my board a super big threat. And he already used Nether, he already used Shadow Flame, so I'm safe for huge AoEs where he goes Hero Power Shadow Flame it. In this 4 cards, I know he has Leroy, so he can kill 1. Okay, what else does he have? Like, he has a Shambler, which is really good. It answers the board pretty good. But right now I have lethal. Like, there is a super easy lethal for now, which is 6/6 into 6/6, and I have 9 damage. So for now, I'm just waiting to see if he has anything more. I know he has a Leroy, but the Leroy was touched by Tarzan, because if Leroy was 4 mana, yeah, he can Leroy and kill 6/6. But if he wasn't touched, it costs 5 mana, it's unplayable. So he decides to go for Leroy, and he kills a 6/6. And right now, as you can see my face, I'm pretty happy because I won either way, because the 2/1/1s give me lethal, because I can go double 1/1, Soulfire the 6/6, and 9 to the face. And I've done 12 wins. And I'm a little kid. And I'm yelling at stupid things in French. So here was the live commented video, people. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more in the future, you can ask me. Like, it would be a pleasure, and it was actually way more fun than I thought. If there are points I talked about or concept in the game that you did not understand, feel free to ask any coach in the building. They all will answer you with great pleasure. And if you think that helped, like if you think that video was helpful to you, feel free to book some coaching on our website, because there's plenty more we can teach you and help you to improve at the game. That was all, folks. Thank you for listening to the video, and have a great time on Hearthstone.